I think probably all of us can agree with this statement. We've all had a bad boss at one time in our lives, but my next guest is hoping to help all the managers out there. Sabina Nawaz is the author of You're the Boss, Become the Manager You Want to Be and Others Need. And Sabina joins me now on the couch. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is such an important book that I feel like so many of us need to read or maybe give as a gift. So explain your background and what led you to want to create this book.
I've even had people anonymously drop these off at their manager's desk already.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
My background in education is computer science and computer systems engineering, and I started off my career at Microsoft in software development and became a boss, was a boss for many, many years. And that leads to why I got to this book. In my first about 10 years of management, people told me I was the best boss they ever had.
What a compliment.
Yeah, I cared about them, I coached them, those were great years, and then everything changed. The first day, I'm getting back to work, now I'm heading up Microsoft's management development, putting on lipstick for the first time in 5 months after parental leave.
Okay.
And my assistant Lori calls me frantic. Where are you? Steve expects you in 30 minutes. This is Steve Ballmer, the CEO of the company. I'm hitting warp speed as Lori's reading me the memo I'm supposed to know.
Oh my gosh.
And that set the tone for my return to work. Inbox overflowing, calendar full, infant at home, no peace, no sleep, no patience.
Right.
We've all been there as bosses. And I started to micromanage. I went from caring and nurturing to snippy and short. Still 5'3", short, but also
spicy.
Yeah, also short-tempered, spicy.
Okay.
And when people would come to the office, I'd look over my shoulder going, yeah, showing I'm more important than you, spit it out, get moving. I thought I was being efficient until my colleague told me, Zach is crying in his office because of something you said to him.
Oh my gosh.
And Kelly, that's why I've written this book, because I have so much compassion for managers who are under pressure. Mm-hmm. It's not power that corrupts, it's pressure.
Wow.
It's pressure. It can bring out our worst. Now, we have a choice with the book to bring out the best, and we talk about some of those strategies, but the diabolical twin forces of power and pressure. Power separates you. It makes you blind to what's happening and no one will tell you. Mm-hmm. And pressure corrupts your actions.
So what are some of the strategies that managers, that you have in the book for managers to know?
Well, the first thing, when you have this power gap, this distance between you and others, is to shut up.
Oh.
As in, yeah, I'm still spicy.
To listen, I like it. Okay.
It is an exercise I call the shut up muscle exercise, which is, as a boss, the minute you open your mouth, no one else is going to disagree with you, give you a different idea, or tell you that your idea is maybe not that great. And you're going to find out a little too late. So what if you became the third or fourth person to speak instead of the first person to speak?
Gosh, yes, that's so good. And why is being promoted to, you say, is the riskiest time in your career?
It is the riskiest time in your career when you get promoted, because the things that were superpowers of yours now look very, very different from a higher perch to the next that are craning up. So imagine, what are your strengths, Kelly?
I mean, I guess definitely organized,
yes.
Passionate, hard worker, self-starter.
Awesome.
Okay, that gives you enough.
Great, I can work with that.
Okay.
So let's say you're super organized and you come in, you've gotten promoted up the ranks because of that. Mm-hmm. Now the people who you're responsible for might think of you as perhaps micromanaging.
Okay.
Or inflexible, overly controlling. You may not be any of these things. You haven't changed, but the perch that you occupy, the position that you have, changes how people look at it.
The
and so it becomes really,
that.
So it becomes a really dangerous time in your career.
That makes sense. And what if you're an employee working for a boss whose response to pressure, like you said, is not great? Like, any tips for people?
Right. And that's the trap we fall into when we are looking up, is we love to make up stories about what that boss is doing and thinking, particularly what they're thinking about us. Mm-hmm. So the thing I would like to say to people who are dealing with bosses who may not be doing great under pressure is, you are not special. In other words, What the boss is saying or doing is rarely, if ever, directed at you. And it's much less mild than you thought. You're thinking they're frowning, there goes my bonus. Maybe they have a blister on their pinky toe.
Right, exactly.
So the suggestion I would have is to make up multiple stories. One story you're making up is about, it's directed at me and he hates me. I hope I said goodbye to my office plants before I went to his office. A couple of other stories would be really helpful. Like, he's had a bad day. His infant was up crying, or he had to drop off his surly teenager.
It's not always all about you.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And how can the lessons in the book be applied outside of work too?
It can be, every single lesson can be applied outside of work. For the person who loves to load their own dishwasher because the forks are not going to be oriented
done
the exact
perfectly,
right
right
way. This is what's called the sole provider trap. I am the sole provider. If I don't do it, it's not going to get done so well. It's about unplugging from that and learning how to delegate in notches, which is called the delegation dial. One other thing I would say is, everybody these days is under tremendous pressure, not just at work. So when you're under huge amounts of pressure, the first thing to do is to do nothing.
Do nothing.
Do nothing.
Thank you so much for being here. Everyone needs to read this book. We so appreciate it.